All right, welcome to the sanctuary. This is the trail, not too far from my house. Goes in a circle, takes about maybe 10 minutes if you're walking at a reasonable pace. The entrance is right there. Some months ago, it was middle of summer, I arrived here. Kind of saw the entrance, how it looks coming in. And I knew then and there that I'm going to end up coming here on this trail at least once a day for the next year, at least. Because my contract for this place is a year. So I figured I'll be coming here at least once a day, if not more, and I'll be doing at least one circle, if not multiple, each time I'm here. This trail being placed right next to my house like this, again, it's exactly what I needed. I didn't even know this was here. And so I knew I'd be coming here, and I've been busy, sort of bit by bit, trying to appreciate every detail here and sort of map out this admittedly very short trail. But of course, if you look around enough times, you come here enough times, you'll start finding all kinds of detail. Specific stones, specific rocks, certain trees, certain interesting growths, which I don't even know the names of. And as a new development right now, all kinds of mushrooms, which again I know next to nothing about. But this is good. So I'm looking around, different trees, tree bark, all kinds of stuff, and especially love this soft stuff, which I don't remember what it's called in English. So bit by bit, I'm trying to get to a point where if I'm not here, I'm like meditating someplace else, or maybe just getting ready to sleep or something. I'm trying to see if I can kind of visualize the whole trek by use of these landmarks. Initially, right. If you breeze through the whole thing, you won't really remember much. Very vague stuff. And the first thing I noticed that I could just memorize is kind of the path that the trek takes. There's a couple turns, this and that. So, like a video game map, you can kind of have like a trail like that in your mind. And the next thing is some of the stones. I can picture those, and other stuff which I can show you along the way. Now, just around that bend, one of the first times I came here, I encountered a squirrel. Now, it looks like just any other spot in the woods, but I kind of remember that specific spot because again, the squirrel was there. It was cool. I got a video of it. And now every time I come in, I can't help but stop at that same place, reminisce about seeing the squirrel, and secretly hope that maybe it might come back to the very same spot again, you know? But the point is, there's an event, there's a memory associated with that particular spot of wood, so it's kind of like the first, other than the entrance itself, I think it's the first milestone on the road. No, the first one is the part of the road that circles back. So there's a turning to the right, which we're gonna get to as well, and then from the right turning, the next milestone I think is is where I had my squirrel encounter. Don't think I've seen any other animals here. So, after the squirrel encounter, you walk up a little bit, and you get this. One of these uprooted trees. So that's number 3, and now we're at the first bend. And what's the point of doing this anyway? Well, first of all, you want to appreciate what's in front of you in full detail. And, you know, in this previous video, I was saying that the entire universe can be contained basically where you are. But that one prerequisite is silence. And I think the other thing is you just need to... the other prerequisite is an ability to really go into the details of the natural environment and everything else. The people in it, all this kind of thing. It reminded me in a sort of roundabout way, I think it was Rilke, the poet. He said something like if you find if your problem is that your life is like unfulfilling and your life sucks basically, I think his advice or his saying was that you're basically not poet enough to see value in it. So I took that to mean that whatever situation you're in, you just gotta exercise your faculty to be a hardcore poet, or to be a poet enough to see the detail and to see the significance and sort of the beauty in just about anything, right? And so I think what that kind of thing suggests as well is almost like a challenge. So coming to this village in general, and coming to these places away from the cities, places that are, in the conventional sense at least, very unstimulating, you know. There's just nothing going on, man. So the challenge is, just pretend you're stuck here forever. Just pick a place, you know. Obviously, don't put yourself in a closet with like no windows and stuff. I mean, you know, that's extreme. But why not? As a thought experiment. Yeah, actually, that's perfectly fine. Imagine if you were one of these solitary confinement prisoners, and you got locked up in one of those fucking concrete cells, you know, with like no windows, a toilet, and you get like 1 hour of release time. I mean, this has happened to people, right? So as a thought experiment, put yourself in a situation like that. Are you hardcore enough, my man, to still find the beauty in life, you know, and survive that shit? But that's a very extreme example. I don't think we have to go that far. Place yourself in your mind in a village, in a place that's unstimulating, wherever. Or even if you live in like some small town and stuff, just kind of as a thought experiment, yeah, pretend that that wherever you are, you're here forever. You know, you can't leave for whatever reason. Anyway, that's the second bend, which is sort of the next milestone on the road. And then we get to this little bit. There's a view. There's a view from here. You can have a seat on these things, or perhaps in the grass, and from here you can see the local power plant, I believe. And straight ahead, that tower, the telecommunications tower, that's a whole video in and of itself, but that tower is basically what allows me to even be here in the first place. That tower is, I depend on that tower, because I depend on my internet connection to suck energy tokens in the form of money out of the internet to feed myself and house myself and clothe myself. So I need this tower. at least for now. I have some ideas about what I might do if I didn't have access to the internet, but again, that's another video. Anyway, so one reason to do this, whatever I'm doing here, is basically to train your faculty of appreciation, you know, for things in general, which is just useful in and of itself, you know. It makes it so that a regular ass walk becomes, or it at least has the potential to become, an adventure in and of itself every day, even if you walk the same trail, and so on. The other reason I started thinking about it is, and then this is only something I know vaguely about, but it's just a memory training exercise. Imagine the amount of detail you can potentially get to if you just memorize a bunch of things to the point where you can maybe even, not only do you have like photographic memory of this kind of place, but you can like paint it, for instance, or whatever. So here we have another stone covered in moss. Moss, that's the word I was looking for. Moss. And here we have this curious pile, which I can't really explain, but I guess it's got something to do with the human activity down this road. It's been here since summer, I think. But yeah, it's a memory training exercise, and apparently, this is something I only found out recently, back in the ancient times, before any technology existed at all, people would memorize very, very long poems and things about history and stories and mythology and all this kind of stuff. They would have to memorize all this stuff and pass it on verbally. So how do you do that? How do you even memorize things like the Bible or something like that? Like, how the hell? Seems like it's beyond, you know, human capacity, certainly the 21st century, you know. But supposedly one of the techniques was taking your information, whatever it is, and visualizing it. For instance, as a part of a, you visualize a big building, and then you visualize a bunch of rooms in the building, like a palace or something. You map out the palace and its rooms, and then you fill the rooms with information. So each room could be a verse from an epic poem or something like that, you know. And apparently this was one of the things they used to like do, and this would work, and you could go very far with this, supposedly. So I've never tried any memory training techniques or that kind of thing. Long enough anyway, so let's see how far this gets me. Anyway, we've now arrived at one of my favorite spots. This little, well, not very little, but this little stone. This is actually quite often where I take a break. I just sit down here in the middle of the trail and appreciate the fact that in all these months I haven't seen a single person on this trail, not one. I don't know what it is about it. More mushrooms. But yeah, training your faculty to your ability to see things. It's almost like an endless game, you know. It's like, particularly if your knowledge increases. For instance, I don't know anything about mushrooms. I don't know anything about plants, really, or any of that kind of stuff, you know, in any detail, right? So potentially I might pick up a book, though. I might pick up a book about mushrooming, right? I'll read through it and reference what I see in the real world, you know, and suddenly all this becomes much more intellectually stimulating as well. you can differentiate them, you know, and you can tell apart their stories, how they grow, where they grow, which ones you can eat, of course, which ones you can't, so on and so forth. And suddenly, instead of this, here we have some more. Just the mushrooms themselves, they can become like the only reason or the whole reason you come here, just in and of themselves. But there's all this other stuff. Here we have the next bend as well, which I believe is basically the last one. Besides the mushrooms, you know, what else is there here to potentially grasp with your mind, to go all the way with? After you learn the ins and outs about mushrooms, well, there's all these trees, all this growth, all the animals that might inhabit this place, all the ways the seasons change the environment subtly, bit by bit. Which is another interesting thing to observe, of course, if you come to the same trail every day. Just subtle shifts in this and that. I'm hoping to see some more animals. I don't know which ones I might encounter here. I've just seen some crows and some strange birds take off, and a squirrel. Oh, and I did see what looked to be like hooves, you know, on the ground. They just dug up dirt, like hoof marks, as if some massive animal had passed through. Here we have the entrance to the football field. This basically leads back to town. And we're almost at the end of the trail, so how long did this take me? At a leisurely pace, about 10-15 minutes. Before we get back to the start, there's another stone which I've managed to memorize. And sometimes I visualize it. Looks like if it was warm, it'd be pretty nice to just lay on that. Just put your back on there and just have a sleep, even. So there we have it, people, as Aaron Berry would say. Shout out to Aaron Berry. I've been looking at a lot of his videos to the point where I've picked up his speech mannerisms. He likes to say people. And in fact, he makes videos just like this, walking around, just looking at sort of minute details of stuff in nature, mostly, but also out in the urban spaces sometimes. And yeah, very cool channel. And he is like much more perceptive than I am when it comes to nature. But what do you expect? I'm a city boy. I've been a city boy my whole life, you know. Pretty much. So you do what you can. Anyway, we've made it back pretty much to where we started. This here will lead back to town. And there you have it, folks. That's the trail.